Welcome to One Word Today. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. Today's plant-based character is gen. It is not a type of plant, but is part of a plant. And the gen is an important concept in Chinese. I mean, root probably is important in English as well, but Chinese really put a lot of thought into what root means to them. And we'll see it in the formation of this wood concept. When Chinese depict a wood, which basically is a tree, it actually draw the invisible part of the tree, which is underground, which is the root. And if you look at the tree symbol, the canopy, the root connected by the trunk of the tree, the root actually is bigger in size than the top, the visible portion. So Chinese, from the formation of a tree, already consider root as a bigger part of the tree. So this root consciousness is embedded in the language. So now, how Chinese express root itself. On the right side, you can see this eyeball shape plus a reverse human being. So I'm going to show you human C. Its normal formation looks like this. And you can see the bottom of here is the flip of this sign. Given that here, the human figure is a little bit transformed, it's not the exact, so it's stylized. So this is the human figure, 人. Okay, so it's almost looking like English R. That's how it was stylized. But it's meant to be a forward walking person. This forward walking is actually the person walking toward the left. So this is the head portion, head direction. This is the back side of the person. This is the front side. So there is an orientation of that person. And normally, this human in its normal form, it will be facing toward the left. In this case, this human is facing backwards, considered backwards. So when an eyeball attached to a backward walking person, and that make you pause, right? Because this is the regular human see. 见. It means you see something. You actually, it's the human see. It's a filtered, biased see. In that, Chinese also embed our human nature in there, like to emphasize it's a human see. It's not a complete objective see. Then if you flip the human backwards, it actually means you exactly that, pause. It means you see something, but you're not going forward. In fact, you're facing backward. And this pause or standing still, pronounced as 艮, is one of the 8 bagua. So it's one of the 8 trigrams, which is 3 lines. Some lines broken, some lines unbroken. And that is the 8 branches, so to speak, for Chinese to explain about the world. So this is the ultimate world operational manual that Chinese try to decode how the world runs, right? It's so complicated. Eventually, 8 is not enough. So the finer granularity will be 64 of such symbols to explain all kinds of situations. And this, you can regard it as the efforts of Chinese as a culture try to come up with a world modeling. Like before the computer, what they call it, machine learning and all that, to compute massive data, some wise person in the past tried to come up with an explainer of how the world runs. I mean, how ambitious is that? But bagua is one of the, I guess, major Chinese cultural, cultural distinctive features that we try to explain world in this way. So it's actually start binary because we only have yin and yang, right? Continued line, broken line, just that. And then somebody make it into 3 strikes. so that each line can be either broken or unbroken. The combination come up with 8, and then further explain things. And so this gun, among the 8 characters or icons, trigrams, is the symbolize mountain, symbolize standing still. And actually the explainer of what gun means is not as simple as just standing still. Because you see, if we visualize the motion of things, this unbroken line means things are moving, it's continuation. And broken lines means it's pausing, you're not moving. We have one that is moving, it's continuous, and the 2 broken lines. So by itself, it doesn't mean things are dead still. It actually means you move when you should move. You stand still when you should stay still. So there is sense of judgment on you. So therefore, I think that's why people put an eyeball in there, because eyeball means you're observing the situation, assessing the situation before you take action, right? And the conclusion after you're assessing the situation is you're not forward going, you're turning back. So that judgment of you're changing your course visually, right? You're originally walking this way, and now you see something, you're walking this way, right? That actually means you consider when to take action and choose not to do it when the time calls for it. And actually Chinese, I think as a culture, we probably, just like the symbol visualize, it's 2 out of 3 times you probably would do better by not doing anything, by turning backwards, not moving forward with something. And 1/3 of the chances, yes, that's a go symbol. So that's my interpretation. But good is this one of the 8 explainers of the trigrams to tell you standing still. And I expanded of it's not just standing still, it's move when the time calls for it. And this then paired with the wood symbol made our root symbol. And I would view it as the root of the tree, the behavior of the root is, for the most part, it's standing still, right? For human perspective, in our time-lapse scale, we don't really see the root moving. For one, it's underground, we don't see it. For 2, our lifespan is relatively short in comparison to trees. So when the roots are actually growing and expanding underground, beyond our time scale, we don't get to see that. So from human perspective, root is stable, is unchanging. But its gun is move when it moves, when it calls for moving. So it doesn't mean it's completely dead still. It actually moves, but it moves on a different time scale. So over time, like beyond our lifetime, generations of human life, compared with tree lifespan, that the root would expand, would move. But it's only in relative terms to humans that we don't see it moving. So I think that's a pretty deep pairing of gun plus wood symbol make the tree, the root symbol. Okay, and 落叶归根, 把根留住, 根深蒂固 are 3 examples of how Chinese culture value this concept of 根. 落叶归根 means the fallen leaves. When they are fallen, the leaves are going to return to their root. That's a natural phenomenon, right? When the leaves fall, they are probably not going to fall far away. They're not a seed, they are leaves. So this natural phenomenon, kind of when we refer it back to human behavior, it means the offsprings of this family tree are going to, when they pass away, they are going to return to their origin, to their birthplace, to their root. So lots of Chinese are influenced by this concept. So that's why when they pass away, they would go back to their hometown. or like before they pass away, or somehow return their ever existence physical form, living or dead form, eventually back to their root. So get back to the root is a strong belief and a drive for human, for Chinese, beings. That's why I guess the migration or migration workers from China, lots of them choose to return back to homeland because that's the firmly held belief, 落叶归根. Okay. 打根留住 is another way, it's probably more contemporary saying, is that you stay connected to your root. 留住 means retain your root. It's probably a response to the globalization age. So just like American, here, people feel globalization as if their jobs are taken away, right? But in China, this globalization impacted China by opening China up and stay kind of back onto the map of the global trade operation. And not only goods trade, people move as well. So when people migrate, either from small towns or farms to city, become migration worker, like China has the largest migration worker workforce, to make that made in China happen, right? Or even further, going away outside the country, like immigrant, permanently or temporarily. So going away from the root. So people have this sense of, stay almost like cut loose in the time of globalization. You're no longer part of your original community. People are moving. And that sense of unsettlement, of staying floating. So Chinese have this expression of floaters. So they are floating around into big cities. They don't feel that's where they come from, and they don't view this they're part of the community. They are just migration into bigger cities or foreign countries, and this sense of outsider. How can you feel at home? 把根留住 to stay connected to your root. Okay, 根深蒂固 is an expression to describe somebody have such a firm belief in things that is hard to change. It's their long-held views, and basically they have a fixed mindset. So 根深蒂固 describes this as if the root is deeply rooted, and then your di is this connecting part from the flower to the stem of the plant, and 地固 means it's still firm. It's the flower is still connected to the plant. It's not falling anytime soon. So 根深蒂固 gives you the sense of things are not changing, and especially applying to somebody's mindset. It's probably more fossilized mindset. Okay, so that's good. And here I'm showing you a banyan tree in relative terms to how a person will look in front of the tree. And you can see this tree probably took hundreds of years to grow into this size. And humans are smaller in terms of both the physical, the spatial sense, but also temporal sense. Probably several generations of that human lifespan can equal this banyan tree lifespan. And this is how a root look like. And this is how the overwhelming sense of root in Chinese culture. This is a really root conscious culture. And I mean, I'm part of this migration, this, stay away from my root. And when I look at the root, I can relate, and it's part of my upbringing. So definitely, I would seek to stay connected to my root, and this channel is one of my efforts to stay connected as a Chinese descendant. All right, thank you for your time. See you another day.